Hey, Lordy, look at the time.
M-PWRD.
Okay, so welcome back to another episode of the M-PWRD Podcast. We have a very special guest today, Tosan. Gonna pass the hot potato over to you to tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah,
Go.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're off.
Thanks for having me. I'm Tosan, like you said. Born and raised in Newcastle. Don't know how we met. It's been a while now, but it's been a little while. Alex used to, train me and stuff, PC me a little bit when I was back over summers.
We can probably stop the podcast there. That's all I wanted from this. Yeah, so we've got that now on tape. I'm not going to take. We did a little bit of training, didn't we?
Yeah.
When you were over here, when you were studying in the States, trying to keep you right during the COVID times and shit like that.
Yeah. So I was at like I said, grew up in Newcastle. Went to the States when I was 18. Went to Princeton University. Played basketball there for 4 years, and then I'm now professional. Back now, a little 2 weeks off, so I'm just back a little bit.
So this is a victory lap, really, isn't it? A little victory lap.
Sorry,
of the Northeast again.
Yeah.
Just come back to tell everyone that you're still around and you're still doing it.
Something like that.
Obviously, really wanted to speak to you about the process of everything that you've done. Obviously, I've kept a close eye on the things that you've been doing, but I think certainly in the last 12 months, there's been a lot more people paying attention to what you're doing, and then the obviously incredible summer that you've had and stuff like that. So for those who don't know, you're now playing with
Detroit
Pistons, who are in the NBA, and I think it's very difficult for someone from Britain to understand just how unlikely it is to be in the position that you're in, especially people watching this. If you try and compare football to basketball, because that's the comparison that a lot of people who will be listening to this have. You've got probably 5 leagues in the world which are at the very top level. So like you've got leagues in England, Germany, Spain, that are at the top level. With basketball, you've essentially got one, which is the NBA. There's 30 teams, and there's how many guys per team? 12.
Like 15.
So there's 15. Yeah. So there's 450 spaces essentially. There's 450 spaces compared to a couple of thousand at top flight in football. Just to kind of break that down, and the chances of making it from a country which isn't known for basketball, it's very strange.
Thanks, mate.
Let's sort of that way. Obviously, it's a massive testament to what you've been able to do in the ridiculous short period of time that you've been able to achieve that. I mean, when did you start playing?
14.
So you started playing when you were 14. You're
22.
22. Yeah. So 6, 8 years. See, this is the thing. They didn't. No, the thing is though, I didn't get that Ivy League scholarship. Do you know what I mean? I had to that's why I didn't get one, bro. So 8 years. Yeah, shit. The thing is though, you're laughing. I'll edit it out. Dude, I'll edit it straight out. I'll go straight to when I said 8 years, and everyone will still think I'm a genius.
There you go.
So 8 years, crazy to be able to achieve that. Compared, most people have started playing basketball in the States when they were how old?
Young,
like
little kids, like 3, 4, 5.
Like they do football here.
Yeah, like I started playing football same age.
Yeah. So most of them have been playing for ages, and then getting to the stage where you're able to go and compete in that country at that level is wild. So what was it like leaving England and going to the States?
Pretty smooth transition, honestly, and that's like down to just the place I was, like teammates and coaching staff, like. Took me in, it was like, second home, just a big family really, but I know a lot of guys who go over to the States and it's not the same situation, and guys are miserable and they come back early and this and that, so just honestly grateful for the position I was in and where I was, but pretty smooth transition in terms of like, life change or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a step up basketball-wise, need time to adjust, as everyone does, so... Loved my time there, it was really good, but definitely have that adjustment period, and a lot of that was my freshman year, and that's kind of the same for a lot of people.
The main thing that I hear from guys who've left the UK and moved to America is obviously the change in intensity.
Yeah.
Obviously, it goes from playing basketball in the UK. You know, you're lucky if you play every day. If you play in the UK, that's the top and bottom of it. I mean, you know, struggling to get caught. Yeah. You're getting kicked off after 60 minutes for badminton. Yeah, literally, like all of these ridiculous sports. There's no dedicated place for playing basketball. Realistically, you know, you're lucky if you're training twice a week with a team, compared to America where you're training every day. So the one thing that I hear guys who've left and went to the States is that after a year they're sick of it. Yeah, they almost hate basketball. So how did you keep your passion going for it when it's turned from being fun into, you know, the stakes are high and it's very, very serious?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm with me in football, to be honest. I got a bit sick of it, and it was, you know, quite serious. A little bit young for me, but I really just got tired of it, and I think starting a little bit late probably took that out of basketball. Yeah. But I think, like, for me, it's always been fun, and I went to, you know, Princeton, and again, like, when I went to Princeton, the NBA wasn't kind of the goal, and I was always playing for fun, and, you know, there's obviously, like you said, higher stakes, this, that, the other, but for me, I just try to keep that kind of the main thing, and I'm there to enjoy it. So it's a little bit different now, but that's kind of how it was, and like you said, it's, you know, it's a new world in terms of access to facilities, resources, all of that. Like, hadn't used you know, I like went to Princeton and there was like a couple of shooting guns. I was like, what are those? Like, you know what I mean? And
as soon as you said access to new resources, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, shooting gun.
Because we don't have them here. Like,
I
literally,
one in the UK.
Yeah, I hadn't seen one. Yeah. And and they've everyone over there. It's like, oh yeah, I have like a couple in my middle school. I'm like, what?
If there was a shooting gun here, people wouldn't even be allowed to use it. That'd be the crack of the window.
You'd have to rent it.
Yeah, there'd be a shooting gun, but no one's allowed to use it.
Literally.
It would be off limits.
No, yeah, I mean, massive step up, and I just try to take advantage of everything there. Do you know what I mean? And recovery, resources, all that type of stuff, and it makes a difference.
How do you feel like going over there to such a school with, you know, high expectations from an education perspective? How did you find that? Because obviously you'd been in a similar sort of scenario in terms of high expectations from your education, but was it difficult combating that with the basketball? Because I know you hear about guys going to the States and they're very much, you know, their school isn't known for its academia, and they're there to play basketball essentially. Yeah.
No, I think to be fair, Princeton reminded me a bit of my high school, and that's maybe a reason for kind of a smoother transition as well. And it was challenging, you know, to balance it too, and you get better at it and you get used to it, you know, as you go on through college. But you know, it can be difficult, like I said, but everyone's kind of doing the same, like, you know, your teammates are all in it with you. There's a bunch of athletes with you. There's a lot of resources, you know, available. But for me, that was always going to be the case. You know, I only really looked at schools with that type of, you know, high academia, high basketball level as well. Not wanting to kind of compromise either, you know, at that stage. So yeah, I mean, that's what I signed up for.
Do you feel like that could have been a bit of an advantage for you then? You haven't went in with these expectations of just seeing the future as being basketball, which obviously for a lot of people when they get a chance to leave the UK, obviously it's like they've made it in a sense already because they've left the UK. Yeah. They've taken that massive step towards basketball being, you know, a big deal in the place that they're going to. Obviously being good at basketball in the UK it's very difficult to judge because the top 10 guys in the UK could all be like vastly different in their like ability. Yeah. It's just because there's such a small pool of people to choose from. Yeah. Whereas when you go to America, you feel, right, I'm actually going to somewhere that gives a shit about basketball now. So I'm, you know, the chances for me to improve are massive. So going somewhere where you're thinking about your academia as well, do you think maybe that's allowed you to not feel under so much pressure from a basketball perspective?
Maybe. I think it kind of depends the way you look at it because, yes, I went to Princeton, but I wasn't, you know, there was people that didn't take academics as seriously as me, and that's fine. You know, like a lot of people kind of look at it as you go to Princeton, whatever, your grades look like whatever, you're going to get a Princeton degree and that's going to hold you well. So there's still like levels within it, do you know what I mean? So I think it really just depends on how you look at it. Depends on the person. I think for me, I just whatever I do, I try to excel in it. So even sometimes I want to kind of switch the academic side off and focus more on basketball at Princeton. It was difficult for me to do that, and definitely became more important to do that a little bit towards, you know, the back end of it when you know, basketball really picked up and I started to see that as my profession, as my future career. But I think, yeah, like I said, it just kind of depends on who you are and what your priorities are, I guess.
What was it like, that moment when you were thinking that? Did people bring it up to you first, or did you take it to other people and say, look, I really think that I can make a good go of this? Obviously, you had the 2 Ivy League Player of the Seasons. Is that in your second year? One in your senior year?
In my third year.
So in your third year, you got it, and then the senior year,
robbed.
you got robbed. Shit. But your senior year is when you guys went to the tournament.
Yes.
So that was, Yeah. Did either like Ivy League school get that far?
It did not.
So it's a robbery, really.
You know what I mean?
How could you give it to 2? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those when they keep giving the Ballon d'Or to Messi. Eventually, they need to just chuck one to Modric or something, just for a bit of variety. That's a variety one. Do you know what I mean?
No, respect. He's a good player. No respect. So
I don't even know who he is. So I'll talk shit about him. All I want. Yeah, he won't see this. To be fair, he might. Yeah, I should probably be more careful. Yeah, so obviously, Ivy League Player of the Season in your third year, that's got to be, starting. Did that start the ball rolling of going, or was it before?
It was before. People used to bring it up to me, but like I'd say in the UK, and I used to brush it off.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's impossible.
You can't. It's tough to have that vision.
That's why it's
honestly,
difficult to say to somebody in the UK, like to tell them how unlikely this is, because they'll be like, "Oh, my mate was really good. He might have." First of all, even if there's a difference between being incredibly talented and then that level, it's like the only way to compare it is like Champions League. It's like being Champions League level because that's the equivalent level. It's not like playing in the Premier League. It's like playing for a top 4 club in the Premier League and being a starter. Like you're talking about like household names. Like everybody in the NBA pretty much in America is like a household name. Whereas there's guys who play for Burnley right now, you don't know who the fuck they are. Do you know what I mean? Nobody will ever know who they are.
To an extent, I guess, yeah.
So obviously discard the people who are saying it, because, people might have said that you were good enough to play it at school, do you know what I mean, with 0.
That's exactly how it was, and there's no knowledge.
When was the first serious conversation? Because I can't even begin to put myself in your shoes of the first serious one where you believed it.
It's probably after my freshman year. That was kind of up and down, but I kind of went in with no expectations, and I ended up like starting most games, and so that confidence started to build from that, and then it was kind of a combination of that and seeing other people do it. Other guys in the Ivy League, it's not super common for Ivy League guys to get to the league, but Miaoni from Yale, shout out Mia, just got drafted. Devin Kennedy from Princeton had had opportunities as well. So like seeing, okay, that's possible, having a solid freshman year, I'd say, and a combination of those things, and then I think just realizing how good I could become, and that again, part of that is like how good I'd become over that year with. I've been now put in this new place with all these resources, and not to say you can't get better in the UK. Obviously, you can. Like I did. When I was here, and it's just a different situation and a different type of focus, a different type of attention to detail when you're over there. And so I think it was after my freshman year, and I remember coming back, and that's when we started working together. And I was like, bro, listen, like I'm trying to go, bro. Like
when you said that in the message, and you were saying that you were serious about making it to the NBA, I was like...
Probably like, yeah, mate.
I just thought, fuck it. If anybody can't... it comes down to certain things, like... Because I used to bring it up to people, that we were training, and, that you had that Ivy League Player of the Season performance. And I started bringing it up to people. And, people are doubtful because it's...
Right.
It's Newcastle, and nobody's done it before. And sometimes people need to see it happen once before they can believe it. Obviously, now you've done it, people genuinely believe that it's more like... that they'll be able to, there's more of a chance that they are able to achieve it because someone's done it. So now the event horizon's been passed in their mind. It's now possible. Yeah. So that'll probably lower people's like how hard they think it is to do it because you've done it, which obviously is annoying. And he doesn't matter because they won't. But so when I started mentioning it, and people are like, "Oh, like nobody from England makes it, basically nobody." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we're not talking. If we were talking about a 6'2" god who was like." I would be a bit more like, even if they have an amazing standout season, it doesn't really matter because when you get to the next level. But I feel like you've also got an NBA body. Yeah. Like you wouldn't look strange out there. Right. You look like you've got an NBA body, which helps. Do you feel like...
Yeah. no, God has definitely blessed me with, you know what I mean? Like, with certain natural, physical, you know, skills and tools for
You're
sure.
A tall person.
Yeah,
which helps.
pretty tall.
Yeah, pretty tall person.
Genetically and all that stuff.
Yeah, long arms and stuff.
But yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, I am there, but it's still, you know, it's one thing to kind of get there and another thing to stick around.
Yes.
And, you know, I'll say as I'm knocking on the door now, but it's you know, it's kind of just starting now and wanting to solidify myself and really kind of build a career rather than it being a very short-term thing. And that's, you know, that kind of start, you know, it's already started, but training camp's kind of the next thing, and, you know, playing for different contracts in training camp, and, you know, just about finding the right situation, finding the right team, which I believe I have in Detroit, definitely for, you know, for now. And, you know, stuff changes in the NBA like that. So being able to be adaptable to all that type of stuff.
In terms of your improvement arc, so obviously we know now that you're only between 6 and 8 years into your basketball thing. It's debatable whether it's 6 or 8. You know, some people got the maths different. You know, you're, relatively speaking, on this improvement curve, you're quite early on in your actual career.
So. Yeah.
In terms of just how long you've played basketball for. You know, some people that you're playing week in, week out with might be, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18 years into playing basketball. How do you think that affects people's, you know, attitude towards where you're at? Do you think they see that as, you know, he's a raw talent still?
I think some people do. I think it depends on the way you look at it. Like, some people look at it still like you're a 22-year-old, which is not that young. And, you know, in terms of just getting into the NBA, it's pretty old, on the older side. But other people look at it as, you started late, so, you know, you're very much still on that path, and that's, you know, very much what I believe. And, you know, I kind of told this story quite a few times during, like, the whole pre-draft to a lot of different teams, but I feel like because I started so late, and I kind of got stretched at each level in the UK or in the US more than I would have otherwise, or more than the average person, because, like, I was always a little bit out of my comfort zone. I was always a little bit out of my depth. And, like, the biggest example of that was, like, the first England camp I went to when I was, like, 15. It was under 15s, and I'd been playing basketball for literally, like, 6 months. And it was, like, the first competition which I'd gone to was, like, regionals. I was with Northeast, and, like, I didn't even know England scouts were there. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I don't even remember playing that much or that well, but, like, clearly it was potential-based or whatever. And I got called up, and I went, and I was, like, I was miserable, bro. Like, I got there, and I didn't know I didn't know terminology. Like, I was undersized, I was underskilled. Like, I was like, I left, and I was like, bro, like, what am I doing here? Like, the whole time I was thinking, like, what am I doing? And I was like to my dad, like, I remember calling him, like, during it, and I was like, Dad, like, I'm not, like, this is it. Like, I didn't want to fall into that trap again where I felt in football where it got too serious too quickly, and I want to just keep it fun, like, forever. Do you know what I mean?
6 months, and then England camp, which is the pinnacle of playing basketball in this country. Like, that's the highest level that you can play as a junior. To do that 6 months in when most people are playing CVL is it's going to be quite serious.
No, it was. I mean, like, that was like a.
But you stuck it out.
I don't want to say a turning point, but I did stick it out, and I left being like, that's not going to happen again.
What did he
like,
say?
Who?
Your dad?
I can't remember.
No, it wasn't anything profound.
No.
He didn't give you the speech.
He was probably like, "I'll keep going," you know, whatever. But
really?
You know, we talked when I got home. We spoke, obviously, and I was kind of like, "That's not, you know, happening again. If I get this opportunity again, I'm going to be more ready for it." And not that you know, at the time, like I said, I didn't really know anything going on, so it wasn't like I could have been really for the first one. But that was kind of the situation. And then, you know, at each stage, I think still I was stretched. First GB call up. When I was a year younger, you know, again, out of my comfort zone, So that's kind of been throughout my career, I think, and it's helped me to progress quickly.
So you think that regardless of what discomfortable position that you put in, uncomfortable position, I will cut that bit out. I was going to say uncomfortable, but I was going to say a different word at the same time.
Yeah,
I was trying to put in a little bit of it. Whatever, like, uncomfortable position you put in, you grow to that level in the comfort zone.
Yeah, I think, like, I mean, often you're put in these situations and it's probably easy to, you know, quit or whatever. But I think, like, stick with it, and you'll get there. And then it's about putting yourself in another situation.
And you think that's the same with the NBA? So you want to be in that position, because every time you've been put in that position, even though it's been out of your comfort zone at first, you've just evolved into that.
Yeah, I mean that's how you grow, and I think I've realized that pretty early on, and it's nice to be comfortable and be the best player, whatever. But it's just like going from
you didn't fancy being the best player in the BBL.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like going from Prince in my last year and being the best player on the team or whatever, and having the ball in my hands all the time, and my role in the NBA or like is completely different. And talking about the BBL, no shade on the BBL, it's sweet, but
you would end up playing at that level.
Yeah, and I could have, and a team wanted to draft me in the 50s, but they wanted to stash me in Europe for a year, and actually the Lions were one of the teams that it might have been, but I didn't really want to do that for me, and I feel like I'm ready to kind of contribute to an NBA team like this now rather than at the year. So hopefully that decision pays off. That's kind of how I'm backing myself.
That's an incredible stance to take, because a lot of people might have taken being drafted and having that security and going and playing at a potentially lower level in Europe. They would that seems like you've took a big gamble on yourself there to say, no, I believe, give me half a chance,
right,
and I'll prove myself.
Right.
That's crazy. In a good way. Like, I'm not saying it's it's a if people didn't know that, then that would probably change people's opinion on the kind of route that you've taken in, because that's obviously not an easy thing to do, to have that security given to you.
Right.
And then saying, no, actually, I know that I'm at the level that I'm at, and that with the opportunity, I'm going to show that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing as well. It's like that word security. I don't think it exists in the NBA, and it's more about like, I think the right situation, and I don't think like being drafted is not security. Like first round pick is different, but in the second round especially, like it's cool. Like everybody wants to get drafted. Everyone wants to have your name called. Like but it's really aside from that, there's a lot, there isn't a massive amount of difference between certain contracts and things like that. So it is cool. Not saying I didn't want to get drafted. Everybody wants to hear their name called, but I think it's more important the situation.
You had an
and
option
the fit.
That you saw the other one as being more,
long term. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in terms of outside of basketball, so what's it been like? The changes. Obviously, we've spoken via message and stuff like that. But what's it actually, been like? Because how's life changed?
Yeah. I've got a lot more free time.
Oh, really?
I mean, no school now, no uni. Kind of get my work done on the court in the morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Now I'm just sitting at home, I take naps, play on the Xbox, and like
that's crazy.
And everyone's like, "What are you doing with your free time?"
There's no excuse for not being messaging me. I've been telling myself he's busy. I've been going, "Oh, he's busy, man. He'll get back to me."
Don't change, bro.
That's true, bro. That's true.
But everyone's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like degree? Any use of that?" No, like I'm just playing Xbox at home. Like, you know what I mean? So
what I'm kind of going to be doing, like some part-time work with your degree.
So I'm just enjoying it right now, to be honest. Just being able to chill.
There's only so much you can work, because it's your body, isn't it? I mean, there's only so much. You can't just, cram and do 12 hours a day, because you'll start to break.
Right. So it's about finding the balance, and, I'm a worker, and I always have been. So, that stuff on the court will always get taken care of. But
are you getting better at Xbox?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Pretty rapidly.
Could that be something that you
start streaming or something?
Well, you could just, you could do. I feel like if anyone was going to do it, you would have like a little schedule and start doing it, or do you know what I mean? Like working hard towards it, looking at your weaknesses, how you can improve.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that.
No, you don't. What games do you play?
Call of Duty right now and Fortnite.
Really? You don't play any NBA?
Nah.
That's a surprise.
It's been a while since I played 2K or FIFA, but I'll probably get back into them next. I'm waiting for the new ones to come out. You know what I mean? So that's
fair enough. You're waiting to be on it.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that it? Would you play with yourself, do you think?
I'd probably be bad, like at the start, do you know what I mean? So it would just piss me off. I'd be like, why is he not making that?
Yeah, I would definitely make that, so I even complaints.
Sorry, what you do? I'd probably tweet, guys tweet at Ronnie2K, and like, you know what I mean? No, I wouldn't do that. But, maybe I'll wait till hopefully a few years into my career, and it'll be alright.
when you're like new in the NBA, or you know, when you're not as high profile as the other guys, they clearly don't spend as much time on that animation. You know, you see guys on their first thing, and it's like
they won't look like
they just like a stock character. They just don't. They just look like they've been AI generated or something. Like it just looks nothing like you. And then when players like have a breakout season, all of a sudden they've got their tattoos in the right place and stuff. They've got little beauty spots and shit like that they have. Before you're just a fucking NPC. That's terrible. Literally. Yeah, so maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
So other than that though, like, you know, you've got more free time. What's the transition, you know, mentally to more people know who you are now, obviously. What's that been like? You know, people know who you are before you know who they are a lot of the time.
It's cool. I mean, I'm like not one that like typically loves that type of stuff and loves attention, this, that, the other. I'm like a pretty low key guy, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I try to just focus on like the positives of it, I think, and whether, you know, just trying to inspire people, I guess, in the younger generation, and people did it for me. I was, you know, I was a beneficiary of that, and you know, I mentioned earlier kind of the people I looked up to coming out of the Ivy League, and whether it's Ivy League guys, whether it's guys back home here, like showing it's possible. You know, that's kind of the good part about it, I think. So try and focus on that part, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's going to prove to a lot of people that these things are possible if you work hard and if you put yourself into the right positions and if you treat everything, you know, even the academic side of things, if you treat them all like a professional from like quite an early age, or as soon as you really see it kind of developing. So what's next for you? You're heading back to the States now.
Yeah.
And then what does the next, you know, couple of months look like?
Just workouts. I'm going to be back in Detroit, the facility, being on the facility, working on my game, and then training camps not till October. So that's when, you know, everyone will be back.
So have you met all of the guys?
Yeah, we were all in LA a couple of weeks ago. So that was cool. Cool meeting everyone. Good time.
Who was like LA. The person who was a like weird meeting, or just loads of them? Was it? You know, it's got to feel pretty surreal.
Yeah,
to actually see some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously you know them like now, so you're not gonna like start saying like, oh my god, like I can't believe this person was such. They were nothing like that. Yeah. No,
I mean, we were in LA, and you know, we have some great players. We have a young team as well, but like we were in LA, and I remember like we went to some gym and like practice or whatever, had a scrimmage, and then like KD was walking out, and I was like, oh, okay, like
that's so weird.
That's cool. Like,
did you
I mean, like just seeing him in the flesh, and I sound like a fanboy, obviously, but
that's
everybody is
normal,
when you watch him, you know, growing up.
Yeah.
So and then when we got back to the hotel, and then like Giannis was at the hotel too, and they're both very tall human beings. So that was, you know, but those are two that, you know, that like I feel like people watching will know their names.
If you just see them cutting around, it's just so bizarre.
Right. So yeah, it's a bit weird, you know, like being in this position.
That's what I mean. It's so surreal.
Where you want to be. So you know what I mean. So yeah. And
then obviously there's guys who were on the same team as you, and you were kind of like walking around with them in LA. Was it weird? Like what's the setup like? Are you just walking around outside? Just
not really. I mean, LA was pretty like.
There has to be a point where you can't do that anymore, though.
Yeah, I'm not at that stage yet, but there's definitely a point where you can't do that, and like we would go out the back and stuff, like to take the bus. You know what I mean? Like, but kids would still somehow know the time we were leaving and be there with like trading cards and ask, you know, some of our guys for signatures and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely a point you reach, I think, where you can't do that anymore. But it's all part of it, I guess. So.
Yeah, man, that's going to be interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
Yeah.
But obviously everybody's rooting for you, and it's been, you know, inspiring to see somebody, you know, come from this area and just do the things that you've been able to do. I mean, I didn't doubt it for a second. And basically, I'm just. It was all me, so you're welcome. Those couple of sessions, man. Yeah, cheers, man. No, honestly though, bro, thank you so much for coming in. I know that you're well, actually, you're not as busy as I thought you were. So you're welcome. That I managed to fit you in.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. I was just sitting at home. You know what I mean?
Honestly, cheers, bro. And let's. I'm looking forward to coming and seeing you out there.
Yeah.
coming watching a game out there. That's the
sure.
the goal.
Yeah. My guy, thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me, bro.